Elden Ring. I love you, but there's nothing to do, there's no changes, maybe it's time to move on. Unless... out of nowhere, suddenly the largest patch they've ever implemented with the most amount of changes hits the game, and oh my god, everything is different now! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, tarnished all! Welcome to Update 1.07, the Nothing Will Ever Be Same Again edition. So, this is a lot, including now a separate balance for PvP than PvE. Things can now get nerfed and buffed in PvP while unaffecting PvE, and vice versa, which is a much needed change, because it does suck that your favourite boss-killing tool has suddenly been neutered, because Mr. Tryhard in PvP just can't stop cheesing people with it. And in the same vein, it sucks when your favourite player combating tool, as you gloriously duel in this glorious PvP, is suddenly made much worse because it happens to break a few bosses on the other side of the coin. That is excellent. There is also a veritable mountain of changes to Ashes of War across the board and sorceries and incantations across the board. Such as you can cast Oracular Bubble while walking, which is a small change, but as a true sorcerer at heart, this one makes me very happy because I love this sorcery. It is potent, it is powerful, and having that extra little bit of mobility really helps it. And Stars of Ruin has been buffed again, more damage while charged, less FP cost, so that's nice, makes it much more palatable in PvE, still sad in PvP with the reduced tracking from last time. In any case, we will have a detailed look and breakdown at all of the Ash of War and magic changes, but for now, I want to give you the highlights, the cliff notes, some such expression for giving you a quick breakdown of the important things you need to know. In any case, yeah, so we've got this PvP and PvE split balance now. In PvP specifically, well, all weapons will now do more stamina damage to guarding foes. Basically, this patch is fuck big shields Elden Ring edition. Long-range weapons still do the same, but anything up close and personal, I mean, you can see what's going on here. The stamina being chunked. This is the fingerprint shield with the Garn Talisman, you know, that build. The one that's so irritating that feels like an indestructible tank. Well, now they actually take chip damage, the stamina goes down, it will break, they get knocked back even while guarding. You can see just how much worse it is for the blocking player. And indeed, poise damage in general in PvP has been increased for every weapon's normal attack. Ashes of War, skills, and long-range weapons remain the same, but now, well, you can see getting slapped by this greatsword, you really do have to wait a while before rolling. It really is danger to trading now, and we can't just tank through each other's hits and blow each other up in seconds. This is an awesome change and a very, very big deal. And then, across the board, the power of Ashes of War, nearly every single one of them, has been lowered in PvP. Basically, we're getting a bit more old school, slower, more methodical fights, more meaningful trades, less burst, less deleting each other. That is a really positive change, and I think very much a deliberate choice for something that we'll talk about in a later video. For now, though, I wish you well in enjoying brand new PvP, which should be in the best place it's ever been thanks to this update. We've also got a lowering of a various amount of incantations in PvP. Damage has gone down. I don't think any of these were really that crazy in PvP, though they were in invasions, so that makes sense. You can't just get clipped out of nowhere by them and basically one-shot. Then we've got, of course, a whole slew of bugs and fixes and the like. Nothing here is, oh, now we can finally use that, or, oh, they ruined that game-breaking bug I was abusing. You know, there's nothing crazy like that at all. Just makes sense. There's nothing huge to really point out here. And then we have a few general affects everything in the game changes that are quite interesting too. So, when two-handing weapons, your poise damage goes up, and the speed of colossal sword attacks has been increased. This is really, really neat because it means you can actually feel much more big sword go smash than you could before. I am killing this banished knight with an unupgraded Zweihander that I can barely use while overloaded on weight because he just cannot attack me while I have stamina, and every 4 or 5 hits is putting him down for a, well, critical hit. That is fantastic, and while, you know, there was some weight to these weapons before, this feels really, really potent. Especially on top of the fact that colossal weapons in general have had their attack speed increased, except for the jump attacks and if you're power stancing. Oh, and also while on Torrent 2, but that's not the biggest of deals. And then of course hammers, great hammers and colossal weapons have got poise damage extra on top of the extra poise damage that two-handing attacks gives. So yeah, basically colossal weapons in two hands is now the thing. That is the hot thing. That has been made absolutely fantastic, and it's really, really cool to see, as that's not something that's shone as much as previous Souls games has let it shine. The weapons that pierce through shields are piercing through them more, which is kind of fine, but it's not like that's going to light the world on fire, and the actual poise damage of all of the big weapons has gone up as a baseline too, never mind the attack specifically that you do with them. So yeah, again, I really can't stress this enough, being hit by meaty weapon sucks now in PvP, and it sucks for your random mooks in PvE too. You can stun lock a lot of enemies, certain bosses too, and generally you will actually feel like you're using a weapon of the weight you're using, and that's really good to see. Oh, and while we're sharing all of this love for colossal weapons, what has been nerfed is the reliability, reach, and hit zone of the crouch poke. That's right, the crouch poke has been neutered. Oh, that is good to know, good to see, because there is little more infuriating than being crouch spam poked to death by a colossal weapon. To compensate for this though, the poise of all armor has been increased. So, we actually have more of a consideration for using heavier stuff to combat people trying to poise break you, and it generally just seems a nice rebalancing flavor. Though as we can see by how much I'm still staggering and poise breaking our bull goat friend here, it seems like it's definitely not compensated relevant to how much the two-handed Colossals has been increased. And then specifically the fingerprint shield has been reduced in its guard strength, so that's nice to see too, as it did kind of trivialize everything. And I've saved the best till last. Yes, I have. The status build-up when dual-wielding weapons has been decreased. That means bleed is dead. Okay, dead may be overselling it, but hey, this is what my ultimate bleed build did to Melania before this patch, you know, a couple jumping attacks and she's basically dead. This is what it's doing to her now. Yeah, that is okay. Might be a little bit of user error, but you can see just how less bleed procs we're actually getting, and that is, whew, okay, less steamrolling everything with double multi-hit bleed weapons. That's definitely a positive because it did make everything a little bit too trivial. And on the other side of the fence, it's the same in PvP. Normally, you'd get jump attacked, and you would get bled and have your next bleed almost ready to go too, whereas now, I mean, you're seeing the difference. It is massive. And indeed, the damage output seems to be a little bit lower too, which is really good, as Seppuku itself has been nerfed. It does more damage to you, and its actual strength that applies to the weapon has gone down as well. So, bleed, dual wield, status, Seppuku, it's all been toned down. Sadly, of course, this affects dual frost and poison, but, you know, that's much less relevant. But, generally speaking, this is a health patch. This is a first aid kit for Elden Ring. The PvP should feel much nicer, though we'll see if it devolves into just slowly slapping each other with heavy swords, seeing who gets the first hit, but that's fun in its own right. All I know is that this is very, very good for the game, and, well, there is so much to explore, and we will explore it in due time. Stay tuned. For now, let me know what you guys are thinking. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.